been a long time and I miss this feeling. It feels like freedom, it feels like healing. And if you're going through it, this too shall pass.
Welcome to Rebirth After Burnout, the podcast for high-functioning humans who have decided that working yourself into the ground is not a flex. It's a scream for help. Now, let's talk about hustle culture, or as I like to call it, capitalism's favorite cult. No robes, no chanting, just a ton of color-coded calendars and Slack channels that are called #GrindTime.
There was just something about the word hustle that sort of aligned to my calling, I would say. The idea that there were slogans painted all over the wall of offices saying hustle harder or shut up and work. Those were real things. And you're coming up, you're out of college, and you're being told that the harder you work, the more it's going to pay off, the faster you're going to get elevated. What everyone does not tell you is that when you are hustling towards a goal that was never even yours to begin with, that is the hustle culture.
I helped build the fucking altar of workaholism. When I tell you I was the queen of productivity, I'm talking scepter, throne, all built out of thousands of unread emails and this self-inflated importance of not letting anything fall through the cracks. I skipped meals like it was my job. I put off anything that wasn't work-related. I would take my laptop with me on vacation and just say I was working remote before working remote was a real thing. I was booked and busy. And isn't that what everyone wants? Everyone wants to be booked and busy. No. I was crumbling under the stress. Booked and busy means nothing when you are dying inside. I was spiritually bankrupt, planning my next quarterly business meeting in between my panic attacks. No one called it dangerous. They called it leadership. I was applauded. I was awarded. But when I decided to take a step back and focus on my health, I was fired. Welcome to the cult. Here's the thing about cults. You don't know you're in one until it's too late. Until your body starts rejecting the thought of sitting in silence. Until you are so uncomfortable with who you've become that you have to stay booked and busy because you don't actually like who you are anymore. When you're interviewing, they're not gonna say, hey, we're a cult. They're not gonna say, hey, drink this Kool-Aid and work as hard as possible. What they'll never tell you is, hey, this job is gonna siphon off every single ounce of pride and joy you have in yourself. You're gonna work 80 hours a week and you're not gonna get paid for it. They're never gonna tell you that. They're just gonna expect that you have this innate sense of self-abandonment. They're gonna say, we work fast. They're gonna say, we need you to be able to multitask. They're gonna call you out and give you accolades in an all-hands meeting while simultaneously destroying your integrity behind closed doors. That's how the cult stays in business. This is how they trap you. They give you all the praise, they make you the shining star, and then when you finally wake up just a little bit, you're in too deep. You can't crawl your way back out. And what's really messed up, you smile through it all because at first, it feels great. You feel like you're being recognized, like all of that hard work that you put in the last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years is finally being recognized until it's not. Until all of that ambition that you have is called too much. Until they're told you to smile more. You're coming off aggressive, abrasive even, just because you're asking questions that go against the narrative that they're trying to tell. But the smile starts to slip when the cracks start showing. When you are able to take a step back and again, slow down and sit in silence, you're going to recognize that when you are shaking after your 5th iced coffee, when you forget the word mid-sentence when you're presenting to a client, when you have excruciating migraines and you wake up in the middle of the night to check Slack, that's when you're gonna wake up. You are not working at a company, you are on a life support machine. Now, I didn't know who I was without my hustle. That is exactly who I've always been. It's who my parents trained me to be. It's what got me the praise I so desperately wanted. It was a safer space for me because I was so confident in my work abilities. In every other aspect of my life, my self-confidence was nothing. But at work, I knew if I showed up and I performed, nobody could ever make me feel bad. My entire sense of self was built upon being impressive, productive, and fast. And if I wasn't all three of those things, then who the hell am I? That question haunted me for so long. So I worked harder. I worked faster. I applied for more jobs. I got bigger titles. I got more important roles. And it got worse and worse and worse. And the reason why? I didn't stop. I didn't stop to figure out, why did that last job not work out? Why did that last boyfriend put me through hell? You just keep going. The trauma builds and you jump into the next pit of fire without realizing that that pit of fire that you're jumping into is actually way worse than the last pit of fire. I said yes to every single request made of me. Yes to overnights, yes to extra hours, yes to flying, yes to living by coastal, yes to everything that was not taking care of myself, seeing my family, or living my own life. The praise is addictive. It's a dopamine hit for professionals. So instead of going out and taking drugs or doing what everyone else does for dopamine, exercising, I suppose, no. I just needed to get praised. I needed to get awards. I needed to get accolades. I needed to get shout outs and emails. And so I did. But after that praise goes silent and you're sitting with just yourself, that silence feels like death. There wasn't one defining moment. It was more like a slow, suffocating unraveling that was always kind of disguised as success. The day I cried in a WeWork hallway. The day I pushed through food poisoning in order to pitch the Chevy CMO a 360 campaign. I puked, I rallied, and I came back and won the business. And the applause, the accolades, the awards, that is what made it all worth it for me. I realized that I had built my career so airtight that I literally couldn't breathe anymore.
Here's a prime example of what my life was like for 15 years. This image is me and my team sitting in the office alone at 11:45 at night on a Friday. The client we were working on, and at this point I don't even care saying who it was because she's in jail, was Elizabeth Holmes for Theranos. We were chosen as their launch agency. From the beginning, I felt like this was a ruse. I felt like she was a con artist. I felt it in my bones. But back in 2015, I couldn't necessarily name that. I just knew that she gave me an uneasy feeling. She was not trustworthy.
But the final crack. The final crack came in the form of a progressive social first agency that touted being family owned and human first. But the only human thing about that agency was how expertly they were able to manipulate everyone that worked for them. They praised grit while they soaked up my 70-hour work weeks. They withheld my bonuses even after I hit my performance marks. They dangled equity in front of me when I was negotiating my salary, fully knowing that I was never going to get that equity. And when I started asking questions, after I had been there for a hot minute, started asking a couple questions because things started to get a little shifty while I was there. The cracks started to show. When you ask questions to a cult leader about the cult, you become the target. What they sold as culture, really pretty Zoom backgrounds. What they said loyalty was, that was self-abandonment. And when they said that they really wanted to spread joy, what that meant was hemorrhaging every single ounce of your own self-worth. I wasn't spreading joy. I was hemorrhaging my time, I was losing myself, and I was forgetting who I was put on this earth to be. To this day, the phrase spread joy gives me the most visceral reaction that I've ever experienced. The nausea that builds up in me when I hear spread joy. I realized that every single meeting that I had taken with clients when I said spread joy, that was actually me further communicating all of the actual cult tactics that had been ingrained in my brain. That is how quickly these cults move, both real cults like NXIVM and the cult of hustle. Honestly, Spread Joy is so funny being their main messaging point because truthfully, there was not a single moment of joy in those walls. Maybe the only joyful moment I experienced was when that Rolling Stone piece came out and validated every single thing my body had been trying to tell me for the last 5 months. That was divine. Now, leaving was not some mic drop moment, right? It was quiet, it was scrappy, it was silent, and it was lonely as hell. My bank account was overdrawn, my nervous system was running on fumes, and I had no idea who I was meant to be anymore. It was wild. And I wish this on no one. I wish ego death on no one, but sometimes it's the best thing to happen. So don't be scared if you're in the middle of it right now. Just know it will end. It will get better. But what I need you to know is you don't have to burn all the way out. I didn't feel brave. I felt fucking embarrassed. It was embarrassing. I am not someone who ever accepts help from anyone for anything. I would rather overdraw my bank account and keep paying Chase $35 for every charge than ever ask anyone for money or support. But in my barely surviving, something shifted. For the first time in a really, really long time, I stopped performing for everyone else and started performing for myself. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. Stillness does not feel good at first. It feels like withdrawal. It feels like a complete lack of dopamine. It feels like you are slowly crumbling. There's no deadlines. You have nothing else going on right now. It's just you and silence. And that's when the magic starts to happen. My truth? I had been complicit in my own collapse. I had confused martyrdom for leadership. I had sacrificed myself so many times for companies who did not even know my last name. Now, I still hustle. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's always going to be in me, but I do it with boundaries. I know a lunch break is sacred. I know that walking away from my desk for 5 minutes is not going to implode an entire corporation. You should know that too. If you are young in your career and you feel like you are chained to your desk, I'm urging you right now, step away. If your boss has problems, call me. We will hire you. But do not ever say yes to staying at your desk nonstop, answering phones or emails, agreeing to respond to something within 5 minutes. That is unattainable and unsustainable. Now, I only work with people who honor my life force, people who know how I am, who honor my fire, who know how to hold me. It is not my job to help other people figure out how to take my skill and hone it. If they cannot handle the power that you have, they're not the right person to hold it. So go find a job, a boss, a mentor who sees your sparkle and let them work with you. Do not beg for a job with someone who cannot handle your level of success that you're about to bring them. I say no faster. I rest without guilt. And if somebody says to me, you know what, you're too much, Kristen, I'm gonna say, well, go find less, because I'm done sacrificing my peace to be palatable for you. This was episode 2, the cult of hustle. Next time, we're stepping into silence. What happens when all of the noise fades away and your real voice comes back online? You know, the voice that you've buried under years of productivity and peacekeeping? That voice. It's still there. Let's go find it.